Hello, Sebs. Welcome in. Welcome in. Shout out to Sebs.
Welcome to Leaping Larry's Revolutionary Reading Theatre.
NTC, it always happens to me whenever I smoke out of a bong or whatever. Always. Alright, welcome to the read. We're going to continue on with on giving priority to ideological work is essential for accomplishing socialism by Comrade Kim Jong-il. We're on chapter 2 of this work right here. Just gonna say, we're now reading down here. Yeah. Work hard, play hard. Cinnamon. All right, here we go. We have a little sippy poo. Good. Ready. Go. Chapter 2. Kim Jong-il said this back then. I think 1996, I said. The basic task of ideological work in socialist society is to color the whole of society with socialist ideology. The development and consummation of socialist society is none other than the transformation of all realms of social life as required by socialist ideology. The most important task in this regard is arming all members of society with socialist ideology. Because remember, they don't have it before the socialist revolution, which is often I think the mistake and sort of the shortcoming that the anarchists kind of make, right? In thinking that somehow we're going to be able to have everybody become socialist, ideologically minded, communist, anarchist minded people before there's this transformation of people in an organized way. Which, because of the effect of reactionary ideological warfare against our minds, we're not able to do that without having a state power, without overturning their state power and replacing it with a state power that's doing just the opposite, is keeping people disillusioned by ideology of class societies, right? On based on a new thing, socialism, communism, collectivism. in order to color the whole society with a single ideology. Ideological work in socialist society must serve the purpose of coloring the whole society with socialist ideology. In any society, the ruling class tries to bring about the unchallenged predominance of its own ideology. In capitalist society, where the society is split into classes, people's interests conflict, one ideology cannot hold undivided sway, and it is inevitable that different ideas exist. The imperialists and their mouthpieces claim the existence of these ideas is a source of pride for the free world. However, progressive ideas can never develop freely in capitalist society, where the means of propaganda and education, such as the mass media, are in the hands of monopoly capitalists and reactionary rulers. Reactionary bourgeois ruling class tolerates progressive ideas to some extent, make capitalist society seem democratic. But when they are considered the slightest threat to its ruling system, it mercilessly suppresses them. Outwardly, different thoughts appear to be tolerated in capitalist society, but all kinds of thoughts throughout it are, without exception, none other than various forms and expressions of bourgeois ideology. The freedom of ideology talked about by imperialists, the deceptive slogan to dress up under the signpost of freedom their oppression of progressive ideas in capitalist society, and their restoring to every method to propagate reactionary bourgeois ideas. It is a deceptive slogan to justify their ideological and cultural infiltration into other countries. Only in socialist society, where exploitation, oppression, and class antagonisms have been eliminated, can all members of society be equipped with a single ideology. Because of their common purpose, aspirations, and interests. Only then can a single ideology prevail. Socialist ideology is a scientific ideology which reflects humanity's intrinsically independent nature and throws light on how to realize the masses' independence. For Disby, welcome in. It is only natural that the popular masses accept it as their own ideology. It is only when they are fully equipped with socialist ideology that the popular masses can shape their destiny independently, creatively, and accomplish socialism. Imperialists and renegade socialists abuse the ideological education carried out in socialist society as regimentation and ideological indoctrination. This is an absurd fabrication which throws mud at socialism. It is a falsehood aimed at justifying the deceptive and reactionary nature of bourgeois propaganda. Socialist ideology develops the masses into independent people who are conscious of their independence and creative ability, while reactionary bourgeois ideas reduce them to servants who obey the domination of capital, to ideological and mental. He uses the word cripples. Who knows what the fuck the actual thing is? So we're just going with that. No, it's a translation. In capitalist society where reactionary bourgeois rule and exploitation. I'm here but barely conscious. Well, the important thing is that you're here, Key. Welcome in. In capitalist society, where bourgeois reactionary rule and exploitation and oppression by capital hold sway, the masses' consciousness of their independence is suppressed. Their aspirations and demands are trampled underfoot, and their creative wisdom and talents are held back and deformed, redirected towards the interests of what the bourgeois want, right? By resorting to every kind of falsehood and deception, imperialists and reactionaries benumb the masses' uncorrupted minds with and spread reactionary bourgeois ideas, corrupt bourgeois way of life among them. This is the very ideological suppression which stops the development of people's consciousness of their
I've got
independence.
some literature in my car that will change your whole way of thinking.
Pride.
Thank you, March. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Hell yeah. Thank you so much. 7 months. It is criminal ideological indoctrination which forces reactionary ideas on people. Under socialism, the popular masses should firmly equip themselves with socialist ideology. Only then can they free themselves once and for all from the influence and shackles of all kinds of outmoded ideas to meet their demand for independence. Only then can everyone develop their individuality, aspiration, wisdom, and talent in an all around way. Because it is the most revolutionary ideology and champions and realizes the masses' independence, socialist ideology serves as a weapon for genuine ideological and human emancipation. It ensures the unlimited development of people's ideologies and mental qualities. Socialist ideology is the sum total of the development of human ideas. It incorporates all progressive ideas that accord with the popular masses' desire for independence. It is the most extensive and advanced ideology, constituting the acme of humanity's ideological progress. The education of the masses in socialist ideology is about realizing the desire and aspirations for independence of the popular masses, who want to lead wholesome and rich ideological and cultural lives, free from the shackles of all sorts of outmoded ideas. Education of people in socialist ideology by the working class party is for the people themselves, and it is an example of the great love and consideration the party shows the people. The ideological and cultural lives our people lead under the mass-based socialist system, their noble ideological and mental qualities graphically demonstrate the advantages and strength of our socialist system, our socialist ideology, and the ideological education conducted by our party. Everyone in our country is single-mindedly united with the party and leader at the center, even in difficult and complicated circumstances. The whole of society's become one big happy family, and people work and live full of confidence and optimism, helping and leading one another forward as they would their own family. People all learn to their heart's content. They lead varied cultural and emotional lives, bring their wisdom and talents into full bloom, in accordance with their aspirations and desires. This is the true situation in our society, which is being imbued with one ideology, socialist ideology, through intensified ideological work under the party's leadership. We must thwart the reactionary ideological offensive of imperialists, traitors to socialism. We must intensify education in socialist ideology to ensure that people cherish socialism's scientific, truthful, and invincible nature as their unshakable faith. The Juche idea is the revolutionary idea, socialist ideology which our people must acquire. The essence of the party's ideological work is education, the Juche idea. The great leader, Comrade Kim Il-sung, created the Juche idea, thus explained the human-centered socio-historical principles. Put socialist ideology onto a new scientific basis, Juche idea overcome the historical limitations of preceding socialist theories and all kinds of distortions by socialism by opportunists. It developed and perfected socialist ideology and theory in a fresh way by truthfully reflecting the requirements of a new historical age, the age of independence, when the popular masses have emerged as masters of their own destiny. It is only when we are guided by the Juche idea and apply it in full that we can successfully accomplish the masses' cause of independence, the socialist cause. Our party and people have been able to successfully build people-centered socialism even in such a difficult situation. They are triumphantly safeguarding and advancing our socialism, even in the turbulently changing international situation, grave circumstances. Because they have followed the Juche idea and implemented to the letter, life testifies that the Juche idea is an absolutely scientific socialist ideology, which meets the requirements of the present era. We must hold the banner of Juche idea in the future too, and implement it in full throughout the revolution and construction. We must intensify the education of party members and other working people in Juche idea, so that they acquire an unshakable Juche revolutionary outlook on the world and live and work as required by the idea. Collectivism is the basis of socialist society. Socialist ideology is essentially a collectivist idea. Humanity is a social being, and their desire for independence can only be successfully realized through collectivism. Socialist society is a society where collectivism is implemented. Struggle between socialism and capitalism, who conquers whom, is none other than the struggle between collectivism and individualism. The advantages of socialism over capitalism are the advantages of collectivism over individualism. Victory of socialism can be said to depend on how collectivism is applied. Fully equipping all members of society with collectivist ideas, and fully implementing collectivist principles in all areas of social relations, social administration, and social life are a fundamental guarantee for developing and perfecting socialism. A person must place the interests of the collective above their own interests. They must work devoutly for the collective and seek their work of life and happiness in the trust and love of the collective. Only when they have such a collectivist outlook on life can they acquire noble ideological and mental qualities which confirm with social humanity's intrinsic nature and the requirements of socialist society. Only then can they become true humans who fight for socialism. Slackening education in collectivism and renouncing collectivist principles in socialist society is immediately forsaking socialism, reviving capitalism, which is based on individualism. Our party tirelessly carried out collectivist education among party members and other working people. It is fully implementing collectivist principles in all areas of socialist construction. Today, our people are fully displaying the noble collectivist spirit to work with complete devotion for the party and the leader, for their motherland and nation, and for the society and the collective. We must continue to intensify collectivist education to bring the attitude of living and working. Let's hear the soundbite of living and working in the spirit of one for all and all for one into fuller bloom throughout the society. Now you want to play that soundbite.
It's all for one motherfucker and one motherfucker for all motherfuckers everywhere, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you, March. Perfect. Loyalty to the party is the highest expression of collectivism, and it is an essential quality for a communist revolutionary. You're telling me we gotta be loyal to each other here now? Hi. A working class party is the guardian of people's political lives. And I love that this is one major difference that, like DPRK says about how the working class party must develop itself in changing from fighting against capitalism before it has state power to after state power. And that they say, of course, class struggle does not end, but class struggle takes a new form, whereby the party has to develop itself to be complete servants of the people, and the entire goal is to love and serve the people and develop everything in service of the people. And in doing that, that is what helps combat revolutionary combats against the counter revolutionaries, because they absolutely they are against serving the people ultimately, functionally. And so they always reveal themselves in this struggle of making the party sharing the party and the state in general sharing ideology with the people, being among the people, sharing the same destiny, right? That's absolutely a vital thing in order to prevent the kind of divorce from party and the masses that we saw in USSR, which led to its overthrow. Um, the party in socialist society cannot rely on other ideological means like capital to control people. You know, it can only rely on persuasion and voluntariness. Having people, the reason why people trust the party, reason why people have faith in the party, is because the party has had faith in them and has served their interests. Right? You can't actually gain faith through force. That's actually that's like fake news, right? The only way you can actually gain faith is through love. Like, obligation to the party comes from love for the party. That's the source of obligation, right? And we're talking like voluntary obligation here. But we got to get elected before building trust. Oh, yeah. That'll do it. They'll really get that one. And that's what I and that's kind of my is my critique of like the way PSL focuses on this national election. It's like you from the perspective of regular people, it's like you're not doing anything different. You're like, hey, trust that this is our program. And Canadian Communist Party does the same thing. It's like, trust that this is our program, and then you'll see. It's like you gotta like kind of put that program, and however limited it might be in your current capacity, you have to put that program into actual practice in addition to like saying this is our program, and then people actually are like, whoa, this is their program. And that would go a lot further than just running in the national election. Yeah, exactly, Sebs. Which is why Black Panther Party was like such a brilliant example that more people need to actually look at what they did. So many people will just like sort of parrot that they're the most revolutionary party, but not understand why that was the case, right? The popular masses can only acquire valuable political integrity and enjoy genuine life and happiness as social beings under the party's leadership. People should make it their revolutionary faith and duty to remain loyal to the party, which provides them with political lives and takes care of their future. The party's love and consideration for the people inspires loyalty in them, as I just said. However, this does not mean that everyone keenly feels the party's love and consideration of their own accord, and resolves to repay it with loyalty. If substantial education in loyalty is not given, ungrateful people may appear, even among those who grew up under the party's care. A working class party must not only implement a correct policy for people, but teach them properly to be loyal to the party. Our party, founded by great leader Comrade Kim Il sung, is an experienced party which is brilliantly continuing the Juche revolutionary cause. It is a genuinely motherly party which safeguards the political lives of all members of society and takes warm care of them. We must tirelessly teach party members and other working people to place deep trust in our party, steadfastly defend it, and entrust their future to it, and loyally support its leadership. Loyalty to the party can be measured basically by how one accepts and implements the party's policies. person who is truly loyal to the party is one who accepts the party's policies as being absolutely correct and who carries them out with infinite devotion. Our party's policies form an impeccable strategy and tactics for our revolution and a guide to people's struggles and lives. Party's policies embody the Juche idea, reflect the masses' desire and interests. Always mixing with the popular masses, our party has formed its policies by incorporating their desires and interests. It has carried out its policies by enlisting the popular masses' efforts and wisdom. Since they truthfully represent the desires of the popular masses, all our party's policies enjoy their unqualified support. The masses work hard to carry them out. Our party members and working people arming themselves with the party's policies, carrying them out to the letter, is the only way to defend and develop our socialism and to provide everyone with a worthwhile and happy life. We must step up education and party policies, ensure that all party members and other working people clearly understand the essence and correctness of party's policies, that they believe in them without a shadow of doubt, carry them out to the letter, on the principle of unfailingly implementing the policies without question. To accomplish socialism, we must firmly educate all members of society in our revolutionary traditions and carry forward and develop these traditions in all their purity. Revolutionary traditions are historical roots of socialism and an ideological and mental treasure that maintains the lifeline of the revolution. By the way, before we go on, let me ask you something very important regarding this. Thinking about USSR, Eastern Europe, did USSR uphold its revolutionary traditions and the forerunners of the revolution? Or, when a certain revolutionary leadership took hold, did they decide instead to slander and pile garbage onto the revolutionary forerunners and many of the revolutionary traditions? The process of preserving, inheriting, and developing the ideology of the leader who pioneered the road of socialism, as well as the revolutionary achievements made through bloody struggles by preceding revolutionary generations under his leadership, is at once the process of consummating socialism. Exactly, Cinema. One's attitude towards revolutionary traditions is a touchstone for distinguishing loyalty from disloyalty to the masses' cause of independence, cause of socialism. It is a criterion for judging between revolution and counter-revolution. True revolutionaries, communists, defend, carry forward, and develop the revolutionary traditions, whereas opportunists and traitors to the revolution work viciously to obliterate them. Modern-day revisionists and renegade socialists have quibbled about their leaders' position and authority, and destroyed the achievements gained by their revolutionary predecessors. They thus corrupted and demolished socialism and tarnished its image. To emasculate the main roots of socialism, profane their leaders, who blazed the path of the revolution and their revolutionary predecessors, and obliterate the historical achievements of socialism. These, the most shameful, despicable, disloyalty, and counter-revolutionary maneuvers. Historical experience shows that if revolutionary traditions are negated and destroyed, the revolution is discontinued. Socialist achievements won at the cost of blood are brought to nothing. The revolutionary traditions which our party and people must inherit are the Juche revolutionary traditions established by the great leader Comrade Kim Il-sung while pioneering and leading the unprecedentedly arduous Korean Revolution to victory. Our party's revolutionary traditions, whose main content is the Juche ideological system, the communist revolutionary spirit, valuable revolutionary achievements, profound and rich fighting experience, and the revolutionary method, popular style of working, known as the Taiyan work system, at that time, are a lasting foundation of our revolution. Our party has always paid close attention to staunchly defending the glorious revolutionary traditions established by respected comrade Kim Il sung, preserving the purity, and educating all party members and working people in them. In our country, our revolutionary traditions are now brilliantly embodied in socialist construction and all domains of social life. We must intensify education in our revolutionary traditions so that all party members and working people are solidly educated in our party's revolutionary traditions, carry them forward, and develop them so as to consummate Juche socialism without fail. Working class consciousness constitutes the core of socialist ideology. It is the consciousness of independence, which represents the masses' desire for independence and their fundamental interest. The working class has a stronger revolutionary spirit and unity and a greater sense of independence than any other social class. It is none other than the working class which represents the masses' desire for aspirations to an independent life and development, and which takes the lead in the struggle to realize these. Socialist society embodies the demands of the working class. In the struggle for socialism, we must adhere to the standpoint of the working class. Any departure from this will result in degeneration of socialism. The degeneration of socialism means class degeneration. Renegade socialists paralyzed people's class consciousness and corrupted the class content of socialism under deceptive slogans such as a new way of thinking and universal human values. A new way of thinking and universal human values depart from the viewpoints of the working class and are precisely a bourgeois way of thinking and bourgeois outlook values. Maintaining the standpoint of the working class, equipping people with working class consciousness, is always an important matter throughout the accomplishment of socialism. Needless to say, the specific content of class education may change to some extent as the revolution and construction progress. However, class education must never be neglected for a moment. Class education must be steadily intensified, not only during the struggle to establish socialism, but also after its establishment. Neglecting class education when the imperialists and their allies, hostile elements, are still working insidiously to wipe out socialism may result in ideological disarmament in our confrontation with the enemy. So we must on no account slacking the work of arming people with working class consciousness, even after the establishment of the socialist system. Weird, I thought reactionaries are always telling me that Juche rejects class struggle. Huh. I guess they're wrong about that. Go figure. Since its early days, our party has maintained that equipping people with working class consciousness is essential for communist education, and has conducted tireless class education. We must step up class education among our party members, working people, keeping with the present conditions, to ensure that they acquire working class consciousness. We must always maintain the viewpoint of the working class, hate exploitative systems, imperialism, staunchly fight against them. Guess what settler colonialism is? An exploitative system. In particular, we must pay a lot of attention to instilling working class consciousness into the younger generation, who have experienced neither exploitation and oppression or the trials of arduous revolution. Where do they base what allegations? Hating the exploitative system? Oh, the allegations of what I just said about Juche? I don't know. They say that they have read Juche, and that's what it says for Dispy. So yeah, March, I guess, gives a good answer. Their asses. They pull it out of their asses. Socialist ideology is a weapon for class emancipation as well as national liberation. It is genuine patriotism, Notice how national liberation and genuine patriotism are linked together. Not patriotism for a settler colonial imperialist entity. Notice that? A country and nation are a community of people which has been formed historically, whose members share a common destiny. Oh, what do you know? That doesn't really describe the US, does it? Socialism. Was thinking they point to some quote. I don't. I would like them. I would like to see which quote they point to about that. I think they point to the fact that they say that they're building a mass party. But whenever they mention about building a mass party, they also say they're doing this by properly combining the class line with the mass line and focusing on serving the people, which becomes an ideological weapon against reactionaries and counter-revolutionaries. More militantly they work to serve the people, the more bureaucracy is overcome and the less room reactionaries have to maneuver. Socialism is carried out with the country and nation as a unit. Imperialists trample upon the independence of other countries and nations. This is what they quote to you? Oh god, the fake thing. The fake. This is the fake. The fake document that nobody's ever seen. This is the fake document that nobody who's ever been to DPRK has ever fucking seen. They say that this is so this is 10 principles for establishment of a monolithic ideological system, which in fact is a mashing of two different titles of speeches given by Kim Il Sung. One was given by Kim Il. No, they're both given by Kim Il Sung, but they're from two different speeches, and the titles like mashed together. It's 10 principles for the reunification of Korea, and the establishment of a monolithic ideological system is the separate thing, which we're kind of actually reading about right now in this work. Is Kim Jong-il explaining how and why a monolithic ideological system can be established in socialism. But this whole thing where it's showing like this is the principles and this is people read this. People Okay, I think it's coming back. Somebody's trying to stop me. Somebody is trying to stop us. CIA at it again. Most subversive. I don't even need to put subversive in the title of my stream, and already. Like Rob, I respect Rob. I respect subversive being trying to be subversive and everything. But come on, who else is getting their plug pulled by the CIA every fucking time? Okay, and then so what I was trying to show you about this is you see how like there's some red flags in this alone. We're in the midst of cyber warfare here. Okay, well we're during an ad. So before I show everybody this, I'm going to let the ad play. I like how it even shows that these are all these different versions too. And you'll just see. You'll see. There. Not the several hundred viewer streams who yell at chat for being too mean to liberals. Yeah, no. So, we're gonna look and see. This is supposedly all the sources that they give for this document right here for the 10 principles of the establishment of a monolithic ideological system. And we'll just have a look and see what these things are. But first, when people are come back, I've been streaming for an hour. I'm gonna be like, hey, sub to Larry, get some good pictures. I'm gonna do that thing that people do sometimes. Gonna have a look see, yeah, a little gander, if you will. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, as they say. Wanna be good for the goose, be good for the gander. See? See? I sing to you when you sub to Larry. I'm singing to you. Oh, I gotta edit that. I gotta put the spladle in there. Hold on. Hold on, I gotta add the spladle to that. Let me get the spladle ready. Oh, Frank's gonna get it? Okay. Fuck, thank you, Frank. Wanted to add the... Feel like it's missing something without the spladle, which is, of course, the new best emote on the channel. I feel like we really upgraded ourselves with the spladle. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, you found the actual announcer? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, you can really hear him yelling spladle. Like, it's that spladle! Spladle! That's hilarious. That's too funny. Alright. If you don't want to get spladled, everybody, if you want to prevent yourself from being spladled by advertisements, you consider sending some support to Larry for the talking that I do for you up here. I'm up here entertaining you. Hopefully, maybe we're getting educated while we do it. The best way you can contribute is, of course, directly through PayPal, because then you're saying fuck you, Bezos. You're not getting any of my support for Larry. But if you, of course, do not want to use PayPal for whatever reason, or I'm not judging that. I also accept any of the officiated Jeff Bezos channels as well. It all goes towards keeping the stream going, whether it's subs or biddies or gift subs. So if you like what we do, if you want some emotes, including the spladle emote, want to think about hitting that button. Yeah. Me doing the thing that you're supposed to do so often. Oh yeah, and you don't get ads either. You stop getting ads. Now, I wanted to look at this. Again, this is the 10 principles that these reactionary imperialists and everything claim are everywhere in the DPRK, and that there's these documents of it that is from DPRK, but yet, strangely enough, having organized with the Korean Friendship Association, knowing tons and tons of people who have traveled to DPRK countless times, even without guides with them, have never seen this so-called document that's posted everywhere. DPRK. So let's just see. We're looking at the sources now. Daily North Korea. Okay. This is the Wayback Machine. So it's not even it's not even there anymore. And it just again is asserting this stuff, but I don't see any like source for where this is. So, okay, Daily North Korea. What else do we got here? Something about the 1967 purge of the Gapson faction in the establishment of the monolithic ideological system by James F. Person. I don't know, it sounds pretty fucking fake to me. James F. Person? Really? Signed N. Papa. What the fuck am I looking at here exactly? This is a telegram from Pyongyang to Bucharest. Right, okay. And Papa from DPRK wrote that. Here's document number 2. I love how it's like, this is the document, but can I see the original document at all? No. There's no picture of the actual document. It's just like, here it is. And none of these are listing these things that I've said, that they've already said, right? Like, none of these are listing that. It's saying about this faction that they're removing, for fuck's sakes. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh no. He was the founding director of the Hyundai Motor Korea Foundation Center for Korean History and Public Policy at the Wilson Center. Ah, ay, ay. Yeah, there's no conflicts of interest going on here. None at all. James Person. Sure, he has absolutely no biases there, being on the board of the Great. This is gotta be a joke. Again, it's all about purging this faction, who I'm, more and more thinking that probably deserve to be. None of this is saying what it says that is listing that. So okay, there's this. Good question. Yeah, I think it is. Global Post. Here we go. Communist country changed the 10 rules of the monolithic ideological system in June. Okay. Let's see. Looking for who they're citing for this. North Korea has recently revised its leadership ideology to legitimize the rule of Kim Jong-un and his family, experts here said Monday. Experts. Experts here. Experts here said that. The experts at Global Post said that, everybody. I'm just looking for any other, naming of any other type of source. Oh, here's where these people get this foolish saying right here. The latest 10 revisions to the 10 key rules also omitted all references to dictatorship of the proletariat and communism. Yeah. Many experts are saying this, yeah. Related to the changes, the Ministry of Unification said that the recent amendment is part of continuing process to try and just prop up the current leader. I wonder why DPRK shut down the goddamn unification bullshit. Huh? This is what the Ministry of Unification is fucking saying about DPRK while they're trying to reach an arm out and have friendly relations with them. And then people are like, gee, why would DPRK say that South Korea is too hostile? It doesn't make sense. This is the unification. This is the Ministry of Unification saying this. Shit. Wrapped in Fog on the North Korean Constitution and the 10 Principles. This is from Sino NK. Adam Cathcart is a PhD and founder of Sino North Korea and an associate professor at the University of Leeds in the UK. Look at these. Like, I talk about Juche, but I do not talk much about Korean history because I am no expert in Korean history, but this is ridiculous. Luke Thrumble, Christopher Green, Stephen Denny, Anthony Rena, Eugene Lim. Focuses on US-China relations. This account does not exist. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, sure. Sure. Yeah, right. Right, buddy. Right on. Right on. How about Steve Denny here? Oh, that was Steve Denny. I was just looking at. Christopher Green. Luke Thrumble. Researching UK foreign policy diplomacy at the end of the Cold War and beyond. These are the oh my god. And Adam Cathcart, Chinese historian at University of Leeds. Good god. Okay, so there's your other source, and let's see. And this also doesn't have like the document itself, it's just like talking about the document. We witness the attempts to control information and events, including by no means limited to. Okay, that's another source. Oh, Daily North Korea, yay. I fucking have encountered this before. And here, again, it's just listing it just like it did on Wikipedia. See? Just listing it like it did on Wikipedia. No source for this document or anything like that. Alright, no picture of the document. Instead, it's just a picture of statues. Not even a picture of the fucking this document that's supposedly everywhere. Oh, and of course, Radio Free Asia had to be in here. You know that. You knew Radio Free Asia was going to show up, didn't you? And again, no, this barely even talks about them. Daily North Korea again. Oh, here we go. This must be the original one. 10 Principles. This is on the Wayback Machine from a Columbia Law website. And again, it's just listing the things. But where's this coming from? Definition: the regulations that reign supreme over the everyday lives of North Korean people, proposed by Kim Jong-ju in 1967 and announced by Kim Jong-il in 1974. Where? When? You try to go to it now, the page just doesn't even exist. And then you have the Citizens Alliance for North Korean human rights. Who also just listed it out. And if you try to go to that page today, you get this. So this is the source, supposedly. This is what we have for a source. And again, like I tell you all the time that you can just go to like DPRK, and I've had my comrades search through this. We have searched both. I have had Korean comrades look through this as well in Korean because there's a bunch more works available in Korean. But like, you can go through and read speeches that they publish all the fucking time on here. And I've never seen this ever. And nobody that's ever been there has seen it. We must give all of our struggle to reunify the entire society with Kim Il-sungism, Kim Jong-ilism. Okay, probably that's true. Sure, that sounds good. I don't have a problem with that. We must honor the great comrades Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il as eternal leaders of our party and people as the son of Juche. Okay? And then this part. We must make absolute and desperately defend the authority of the great comrades Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il and the authority of the Workers' Party. There's some weird translation going on there. We must be thoroughly armed with the revolutionary ideas of comrades Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il and the party's lines and policies. Yeah, that's true. Most of them is just ripped right from the work that we're reading right now in just an out of context way. Except for this kind of shit, like we must adhere strictly to the principles of unconditional obedience in accomplishing the instructions passed on by the great comrades Kim Il-sung, and in the party's lines and policies. Yeah, because it's champion the people. Learn from their comrades and adopt. But you notice in all of this though that there's like what's being left out here is the other half of this work, like that we're reading, where it's saying to learn from the people, to trust in the people, and that the loyalty is the two-way thing. Yeah. So it's just weird. Like it's fine that whatever, like that some of the things are completely like in this work, but this document itself is bullshit. It's a fake fucking document that's never been seen. Anyway, after that little side tangent, socialism is carried out with a country and nation as a unit. Imperialists trample upon the independence of other countries and nations and incite antagonism and conflicts among nations. Capitalist road is the road of exploitation, oppression, national inequality, and subjugation. This is clearly proved by the history of oppressed nations, which have been deprived of their national sovereignty and were forced to suffer colonial slavery at the hands of imperialists, and by the state affairs in those countries where, because of renegade socialism, socialism collapsed and capitalism had returned. Socialism is opposed to all sorts of aggression and intervention by imperialists. It guarantees genuine national independence and sovereignty, well-being, and prosperity. So, like, working from what he's saying here, and now he's going to get into patriotism, which applies to revolutionary peoples, again, in overcoming like national nihilism. So, I want you to keep that in mind, that what we just read here, as you see, cannot be applied to the US, right? As an entity. Or Canada. Even if you consider country. They don't share one destiny. It hasn't been formed like historically. formed ahistorically. It is a national duty of the World Revolution for the working class party and people of each country to bring about a successful revolution in their own country. To bring about a successful revolution in their country, they must love their country and nation and maintain their independence. And now this is where chauvinists imagine that the US is a legitimate nation and therefore they have to love the nation. When really their job is they have to be able to love the people struggling for liberation and for national independence, sovereignty, right? And that the type of party programs that the Canadian Communist Party and others give us about First Nations independence is one whereby the inequality between the two nations still exists in a socialist system. Nonsense. It's not a party program at all. Without realizing their countries' and nations' independence, it is impossible for the masses to win their own independence. Yeah, exactly, Sebs. 100%. Mania looked very weird when they tried to replicate DPRK's national law. Yeah, exactly. It's dependent, and what it looks like is dependent on your own country and situation. But chauvinists will dogmatically try to adopt things like this, right? Um, which is why I find it so funny and it's so revealing of Midwestern marks when they say things like, "Oh, well, we have to fight against national nihilism of U.S. people." It's like average Americans don't have national nihilism; they have chauvinism. Without realizing their countries' and nations' independence, it is impossible for the masses to win their own independence. Only someone who loves their country and nation can fight devotedly for socialism, with the attitude of being a master of the revolution in their own country. Hint, settlers, it's not your country over here. What's up, Barry? Someone who loves their country and nation and is loyal to the revolution in their country respects the sovereignty of other countries and nations, fights strongly against any encroachment of it, including the internal nations that, you know. Hey, Jay, welcome in. One's national duty and international duty to the revolution are in unity, and communists who are unfailingly loyal to the cause of the popular masses are popular independents are true patriots. At the same time, genuine internationalists. To instill loyalty to socialism into the people, we must intensify education in socialist patriotism among them. This is God. Yeah. To instill loyalty and socialism into the people, we must intensify education and socialist patriotism among them. Presenting education and socialist patriotism is an important task of ideological education. Our party has worked hard to implement this task among party members and working people. So, settlers, they need to work to implement revolutionary defeatism in their people, and the job of colonized people is to overcome national nihilism in order to strengthen the the consciousness of independence, which will allow them to fight more militantly for national liberation, without believing that their nation is rightfully oppressed or colonized by some other. Our people are now full of national pride and self confidence at living and working for the revolution under the people centered socialist system led by the party. They ardently love their Juche socialist country and reliably defend their socialist achievements, frustrating the anti socialist, anti DPRK schemes of the imperialists and reactionaries. We must step up education, socialist patriotism, and ensure that people fight devotedly for the prosperity and development of their socialist fatherland, fully aware of their mission as revolutionaries, defending the bulwark of socialism. Now, notice how he specifies here socialist fatherland and socialist patriotism. Now, think about what the Patsocks are doing when they use this term, patriotic socialist, for the US. They're taking this experience, ones like it, of actual countries that have built socialism and are developing further, and trying to shoehorn that in to revolution in the West, where we are still fighting against settler colonialism and imperialism and for a democratic revolution. Socialist patriotism is patriotism for the capitalist empire. Yeah, absolutely, of course, sure. Okay, beautiful, 420. Thank you. Actually, I think what we're gonna do is, let me just see. This is 25. I'm just making sure I'm not close to like a chapter end or something. Oh, I am. Okay, good. Okay, I am close to a chapter end. That's good. I'm gonna do that I'm gonna do that 420 redemption as I continue to read, and then as soon as we get a commercial break, I'll focus solely on getting myself high. Thank you for that redemption. So here's another part we need to talk about: morality. Right? Socialists have morality. Want to implement a new moral system, a new moral code among people. So, encouraging all members of society to acquire sound moral qualities is an important requirement for consolidating and developing socialism. Morality means the standard of social behavior which are observed voluntarily and conscientiously. In class society, morality assumes a class character. In an exploitative society, the morals of the exploiting class prevail, serving to protect their interests, to oppress and exploit the working masses. Moral corruption is an incurable sickness which is inherent in an exploitative society. It is the worst in capitalist society, where money rules everything. Socialist society, where comradely unity and cooperation among people constitute the main component of social relationships, require the thorough establishment of new morals that suit its intrinsic nature. Morality's social functions and role increase in socialist construction progresses. However, in some countries which were building socialism in the past, due attention was not paid to establishing new morals that suited the intrinsic nature of socialist society. Worse still, there even appeared deviations, which regarded the emphasis on morals as a weakening of the revolutionary spirit. Morals do not contradict the revolutionary spirit. On the contrary, they consolidate it still further. When socialism establishes morals that suit its intrinsic nature, when it stands firmly on its moral foundation, then the political and ideological unity and cohesion of the popular masses grows stronger. A sound revolutionary atmosphere prevails throughout society and socialist construction advances with force. Socialist morality is a collectivist morality based on noble comradely love and revolutionary duty. It is the best of all moralities. It has inherited excellent virtues handed down through history among the working masses. It has developed these in a fresh way to suit the requirements of socialist society's intrinsic nature. The masses' desire for independence and their interests are the standard of progressive morality. These desires and interests are not only a political standard to distinguish the progressive from the reactionary, but also a moral standard for judging between good and evil. Anyone want to step up to the plate and argue with me how imperialists and colonialists aren't evil? Anyone? Raise your hand. Behavior which accords with the masses' desire for independence and their interests is noble and moral conduct, while behavior which is contrary to these is immoral. To regard living I would, but April Fool's is over. To regard living for society and the collective, helping and leading one another forward on the basis of revolutionary comradeship and duty, is comparably worthwhile and happy life, rather than living for one's own comfort and disregarding others. This is precisely the outlook of socialist collectivist morals. In our country, socialist morals have taken root in people's minds, become part of their everyday lives, and noble communist virtues are brought into full play everywhere. Our people treasure as their own lives their people-centered socialism, which exalts people's dignity and glorifies their lives. They regard their noble moral duty as being to defend and develop it. They consider it their revolutionary obligation to work loyally, prove themselves worthy of the trust and consideration shown to them by the party and the leader, who provide them with precious political lives and give them parental love. Now, just from that alone, are you seeing a slight contradiction between what we were seeing in that monolithic ideological system and how they left out the part about the party returning the love and obligation and support? Weird, eh? The beautiful actions of sincerely loving one's comrades and unhesitatingly devoting everything for one's comrades are universal in our society today. Our monolithic unity is the most solid unity in ideology and purpose, morality and duty, the party, leader, and the masses. A dialectical relationship. Our socialism is unconquerable socialism, based on a single ideology and conviction, and on the relationship of love and trust. Love my comrades. Love you, comrades. Experience shows that only when socialism strikes deep roots in people's minds and lives, by creating an atmosphere where socialism morals are observed throughout society, is it possible to firmly defend socialism and advance it to victory through any trials. We must continue to intensify education in socialist morality, so that all members of society will regard their noble moral duty being to safeguard and glorify socialism, so that their rule in and attitude to life will be to do this. The work of arming people with socialist ideology is carried out amid the struggle against all sorts of non-socialist ideological elements. The process of equipping people with socialist ideology and ridding them of outmoded ideas is a serious ideological struggle to eliminate capitalism once and for all from the people's ideological consciousness. The object of ideological struggle is not humanity themselves, but the remnants of the obsolete ideas lingering in their minds, and reactionary ideas infiltrating from outside. We must step up ideological education and ideological struggle among party members and working people to thoroughly overcome the remnants of outmoded ideas such as individualism and selfishness. In particular, we must intensify the struggle against abuse of power and bureaucracy, corruption, and irregularities among cadres. These evils are products of an exploitative society. They are rooted in individualism and selfishness. In socialist society, they cannot be tolerated. In socialist society, a cadre is not a bureaucrat lording it over people, but their servant. If abuses of power and bureaucracy, corruption, and irregularities are allowed to spread among cadres, this will crack the unity and cohesion of the party and popular masses, and prevent socialism from displaying its vitality. Imperialists will also take advantage of corruption, absolutely. So it becomes a two-way street whereby it fights against corruption, right? And gives the renegades less room to maneuver. The collapse of socialism in some countries, some countries, not naming who, was also due to the widespread abuse of power and to bureaucracy, corruption, and irregularities among cadres. To safeguard the advance of socialism, we must not tolerate even the slightest expression of these evils, but must uncompromisingly combat them and thoroughly overcome them. Bourgeois ideology and the bourgeois way of life are ideological poison which cripples people mentally. Through their ideological and cultural infiltration into other countries, the imperialists are working ceaselessly to affect people with ideological diseases, disintegrate those countries from within, and then put up them under their domination and control. The imperialist ideological and cultural infiltration is a way for them to be aggressive and to intervene under the guise of cooperation and exchange. It is a vicious means of subversion by which to paralyze people's sound ideological consciousness and to corrupt and make people degenerate by means of reactionary bourgeois ideological poison. In order to defend and maintain socialism, we must ensure that our country develops independently. We must fight against ideological and cultural infiltration of imperialism. Imperialists, reactionaries, now continually conspire to blow the wind of bourgeois liberalism into our country. We must guard against the infiltration of all kinds of reactionary ideas from the outside, such as bourgeois ideology and bourgeois way of life. Revisionism is a counter-revolutionary, opportunist trend which emasculates socialism's revolutionary principles. The greatest harm of revisionism is that it denies the position and role of the party and leader in the revolution and construction. It weakens the role of socialist power, creates illusions about capitalism, and disarms people ideologically. In the long run, revisionism abandons socialism and leads to capitalism. We must have a clear understanding of the reactionary nature of revisionism, its dangers, and must strongly oppose and reject all sorts of revisionist trends. An important guarantee for thwarting the anti-socialist schemes of our class enemies and accomplishing socialism is to imbue people firmly with socialist ideology. As in the past, so in the future, we must carry out vigorous ideological education to equip party members and working people with socialist ideology. There you go. That's chapter 2. Time we'll finish off this work probably with chapter 3. That's why the West starts crying when anti-imperialist countries are heightening their anti-corruption measures. Yep, and why they get more, this country's being totalitarian. Because what they really do mean, that they mean that this country is being totalitarian towards us being totalitarian towards them. See? what's really going on there. So there you go. We did it. Did the news. Great, we did the reading. Now we're going to do the news.